Right. Chassidic Parashat of Nitzavim and Vayeilech Nitzavim, Israel's collective responsibility is the foundation from which, according to Moses' belief, right, it is to grow national consciousness. However, this collective responsibility must not allow the individual to believe that he is safe, right, if the community maintains fidelity to God and at the same time transgresses the law and his will provision. Right. Collective responsibility does not cancel individual responsibility. Right. Directly related to this principle is the well-known idea of God's love and charity, which the Creator includes not only the nations as a whole, right, but also each individual within the national whole. Atem Nitzavim begins this sidra. You stand, oh, you are all present, the nation which does not disappear. Right. Generations change, leaders change, but the nation remains. It is Masiva, a pillar that endures. Still, Moses' fears did not entirely disappear. Right. They are afraid that the events that experienced in the desert. Right. Who will become the Moses of the future? The nation will again fall into the mistakes of the predecessors. Right. The wrath of God, it will flare up against the ungrateful, and the time of exile will come. Right. In this connection, mention should be made of the emphatic letter lamed in the 27th Trust Yourself. Right. This distinction from the rest of the text has its exact meaning, which follows from the meaning of the word I, the content of the letter itself. Right. The big lamed stands in the middle of the word Vayashlishim E. Right. E. He threw you out, he threw you out. The word lamed refers to a letter and at the same time means to teach. Right. Its emphasis can then undoubtedly be interpreted in such a way that Israel does not have to go into exile be considered evidence of some sort of final rift between God and Israel. Right. Exile does not bring destruction to God's people. It is not the end of their happiness, but it gives lessons, knowledge. Galut is by school. Right. So the future is dark and uncertain. Right. Moses, however, says, the hidden things belong to the Hashem our GD, but the revealed things ours and the children's ours forever. Right. That we may fulfill all the words of this Torah. No man has the right to despair in his life. He must not do so, even if his existence, right, with all the circumstances that accompany it, seem to him very fleeting, unimportant, negligible. Only God knows the future, and it is so good. After all, right, where would the creative power go? What would happen to man's will and desire, if man knew what awaited him, and thus became a prisoner of the future? Right. For us Jews, the truth is obvious and attainable. It is the word revealed by God, faithfulness to God and his law. Right. Everything else is nothing but speculation. The three words, Lanu ulevanejnu ad, are different from the rest of the text marked at the top by 11 dots. Right. According to Rashi. Right. This distinction should be understood as meaning that for the first 11 years after entering the promised land was not yet covered by the obligation of collective responsibility in the true sense of the word. Right, of which Moses had just spoken. Right. Israel does not begin to be judged as a whole until after the covenant on the mountain has been solemnized Ebal and Gerizim. In the last days of his life, Breit, Moses constantly emphasizes to the people how important he is obedience to God, faith in the Creator. Breit, is it really that hard to be faithful to him and to submit to him? After all, this command which I command you today, Breit, he is neither inaccessible to you nor far from you. The knowledge that the law brings is not supernatural, comprehensible only to celestials. Breit, none of what man needs to attain and understand the law has been closed by GD as his own mystery. For is not in heaven, and the perfection which the law brings does not depend at time or place. Right. It is not beyond the sea that you should say, who will cross the sea for us, that you may take him for us and give him to us, announced that we should fulfill it. Right. But the word is very close to you. God, who gave birth to all being, knows better than anyone else what your soul and body really are they need. Right. He couldn't be wrong when he showed you the way of life with his finger, because it really is life and death, nothing more or less. Right. The whole national and individual being of Israel, her happiness, the fulfillment that everyone strives for in her, will be always depend on the choice one makes. Right. At the foundation of the teaching of freedom, the essence of Jewish philosophy, are the following fundamental statements of the Torah. The choice is before you. Right. Nothing diminishes it, nothing limits it. Everything is in your hands. Your greatness and your decline, your light and your night. Right. Sure, we live, and yet we still have to choose life. For life as God intends it and life as men understand it have very little in common. Right. It goes for life, and the Torah is a magnificent witness to this, which fully opens itself to all aspects and possibilities of existence. Right. The choice must always be present, and whoever says choice, says the master. For only he who is the master of his choice can vote. Right. And being the master of your choice is the main goal teachings that want to endow man with all his possible strength. Right. This choice will be a true act of love, for in this freely confessed choice to the Hashem of all being, the mercy of heaven and the power of creation meet. Right. The unlimited power of God with by the humble and magnificent efforts of man. I am 120 years old today. I can no longer go out and come in. Right. From the mouth of the leader, incomparable to all others, a lament rises to heaven. God's glory accompanies Moses and his actions. Right. But here his modesty seems to be disrespected and simplicity, of which God himself testified. Right. We see Moses before us, the man and the words that complete the 5th book of Moses. In us they evoke deep emotion. The man Moses is alive before us. Right. His words transcend the centuries, they reach our ears, and we listen to a leader full of understanding and righteous severity, right, admirable directness, and clear impartiality. Moses hands over power to his faithful disciple Yehoshua, who in difficult times, right, in moments when it was necessary to be a man in the true sense of the word, he proved exceptional qualities. Right. The last law is revealed. It refers to the public, regularly repeated reading of the Torah, which Moses brought to the people. Right. The reading which was every 7th year, the year of forgiveness. entrusted on the feast of Sukkot to the Levites. Unlike other pilgrimage holidays, in which only men were required to participate, it has in the 7th year to listen to the words of the Torah the whole nation, all who belong to it. Let them be grown men, women, or children. As soon as the child is able, even in his own way, to understand the meaning of the religious order, he must assembly to attend. And on him, through the mouth of his called, the nation will renew its ancient promise, to listen to God, to learn from him of the law, and keep the fear of God. Moses has to hand over his commission to Yehoshua in a ceremonial way. The presence of God in the pillar of cloud lends this moment a unique seal. God himself sanctifies Moses' successor. Such acts of God are absolutely exceptional. In reality, Moses was a stronger personality than Yehoshua, and Moses' death is therefore blamed by many, considered an irreparable misfortune. Yehoshua was in danger of finding himself in a very difficult position after the death of Moses. That is why GD himself intervened to show the people that God's law is eternal, that it will not stop paying after all generations. Vayeilech. With today's Parashat, we are approaching the end of the entire annual reading of the Torah. Our Parashat begins with the words, Moses went and he proclaimed these words to all Israel. Moses was 120 years old. He knew that his days were added up and issues final instructions. It is in this Parsha that the last mitzvah of the entire Torah is contained. Maybe this commandment few people know, so it's worth reminding. All the more so because it is the very last of all 613 in the Torah. The whole verse reads as follows. Now write down this song and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, so that this song she was a witness in the children of Israel. This verse speaks of the obligation to rewrite the Torah scroll. The Torah is meant by that song. All authorities perceive this as a personal mitzvah. It is the duty of every Jew to transcribe the Sefer Torah for himself, and the king has the obligation to transcribe even 2 copies, higher functions. Higher responsibility, that's how it should work. It is clear that God probably did not mean the earth to be by this overflowing with copies of the Torah, but to increase the learning, the knowledge of the Torah through the personal handwritten transcription. It is fine to have a proper respect for the Torah, but it is equally important to act according to it, and that is why it is so necessary to know well. This is what personal rewriting is for. It always helped me to learn when I did at least handwritten extracts, notes. That visual memory, also associated with physical activity. In this case, she helped me a lot with writing. After all, other mitzvahs work in exactly the same way. When we repeatedly perform physically some command, it gradually affects our mind as well and slowly reshapes the personality. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah. One mitzvah attracts another, but this is also true in the case of sin. The Rambam writes in Hilkot Sefer Torah that every Jew must copy the scroll. When he pays for it to a sofer to do it for him, he also fulfills his duty by doing so. But if he transcribes scroll with his own hand, it is as if he received the Torah directly from God. Even the Krakow Rabbi Remu, Rav Seimosh Isserles, 1525-1572, my 26th great-granduncle, in his work, the Halachic Compendium Shulchan Aruch adheres to the Rambam's opinion that every Jew must copy the Torah scroll, and recognized that the form of fulfillment of this mitzvah is handwritten transcription. And if a person does not have such an option, he should buy a scroll that is not complete and finish the job. Remu himself set an example and transcribed the Torah scroll with his own hand. And this scroll was kept by the synagogue of Remu with great respect for the sage of the Torah until its destruction during World War. So, how are we doing? Am I overwritten? Have you fulfilled this mitzvah? Although it is a mitzvah from the Torah, so probably hard. Of course, there are technical difficulties. Who, besides the specialists, has mastered the art of writing Hebrew Ketav Ashuri script, which is used to write the text of the Torah? Even the professional typist suffers has to practice this for a long time art. And then even he can take a year to rewrite the scroll, and that at full deployment. Today is the traditional mitzvah. The rewriting of the Torah scroll is accomplished through participation in a scroll that belongs to a certain community, usually by contributing a certain amount of money to purchase the scroll. A mitzvah fulfilled in this way emphasizes the concept of unity, the Jewish people. Through participation at the community level, we fulfill the commandment of rewriting the Torah scroll. Many scrolls was created precisely because of this idea, to unite individuals in the fulfillment of this mitzvah. I will mention one more thing. Every Jew is compared to a letter from the Torah scroll. And just like the Torah scroll, it must be kosher according to halacha to be used. And each letter must be written exactly according to rules and should not be faded, cracked, or incomplete in any way. So should the Jewish people, in order to fully function as a whole, each individual should fulfill his potential that lies dormant within him. If there is any individuality is incomplete or suffers, so in short it affects the whole. The Torah is our common treasure. And we best honor and respect it by studying it, knowing it, and obeying it. There is no need for us to clumsily try to transcribe the text of the Torah in exact Hebrew letters. Me personally, I liked it when I saw an empty book in a Polish synagogue, which incoming visitors had the opportunity to enter to attribute another verse from the Torah that was lying next to it. I can imagine something like that in our country, and I would love it liked it. The text of the Torah is not something dead. It lives and still fulfills its function. We just have to notice it. She is not an idol in itself, is a mediator to understand God's thinking. Therefore, with all due respect, 3 options are also allowed, because to whom the Torah can be sold. The first one is to donate to a poor girl so that she can get married and have her own family and children. Then, because of Torah study, And the third option is because of the redemption of a Jew from slavery. Life, wisdom, and freedom. And that's all from me for the last commandment of the Torah. Celebrate for a personal approach to the Torah, for rewriting the Torah in our lives. Celebrate. Hide and go seek. The divine game of seeking and finding. In the vast and intricate tapestry of spiritual exploration, the concept of Hester Panim. Celebrate. The divine hiding of the face invites us into a profound dialogue about the nature of our relationship with the Creator. Celebrate. This enigmatic notion is encapsulated beautifully in the poignant verses from the Torah, where Hashem communicates a sobering truth to Moshe. Celebrate. As the Israelites stand on the precipice of entering the promised land, Hashem forewarns that they will stray after foreign gods. Celebrate. Abandoning the sacred covenant established with Him. Celebrate. The result of such betrayal is grave, divine anger and a withdrawal of presence expressed in the stark proclamation, "I will hide my face from them." Celebrate. In their ensuing struggles they will lament, "Is it not because God is not with me that all these terrible things have befallen us?" Yet, celebrate. As we delve deeper into this complex narrative, celebrate, we uncover layers of understanding that illuminate the nature of divine concealment and the human quest for connection. Celebrate. The Chizkuni and other esteemed commentators provide a comforting interpretation of this divine withdrawal, suggesting that it stems from love. Celebrate. Hashem, in His infinite compassion, does not wish to witness the suffering of His beloved people. However, this explanation leads us to an essential question. Celebrate. How can the divine, in His ultimate mercy, truly withdraw from the creations He loves so dearly? The revered Baal Shem Tov, celebrate, a luminary in the realm of Jewish mysticism, presents a transformative insight that challenges our understanding of Hester Panim. Celebrate. He posits that this notion is in essence an illusion, a divine test designed to assess our devotion and perseverance. Celebrate. The crux of the matter lies in whether we will continue to seek Hashem's presence, even when it seems obscured from our view. To illustrate this profound idea, celebrate, the Baal Shem Tov shares an allegory that resonates deeply with the human experience. In this parable, a king constructs formidable barriers around his palace. Celebrate. Walls of wind, walls of fire, and moats filled with water. These obstacles are not meant to truly separate the king from his sons. Rather, celebrate, they serve as a test of their love and determination. Celebrate. One son, endowed with insight and a deep yearning to connect with his father, perceives the barriers not as genuine impediments, but as challenges to overcome. Celebrate. He understands that it would be inconceivable for a loving father to erect such divisions. Celebrate. His commitment to seek his father's presence fuels his determination to navigate these illusions. Celebrate. Revealing a profound understanding of love that transcends physical barriers. In stark contrast, the other son, lacking the same depth of perception, celebrate, views the walls solely as insurmountable obstacles. Celebrate. Overwhelmed by despair, he retreats, convinced that his father has abandoned him. This parable encapsulates the essence of our relationship with the divine. Right? Do we perceive obstacles in our spiritual journey as a sign of divine abandonment, or do we recognize them as invitations to deepen our search for connection? Right. This question resonates with the very core of human experience as we navigate the complexities of life. Right. Often encountering moments when the presence of the divine seems distant or obscured. Right. The distractions and alien thoughts that invade our minds, especially during prayer, study, or engagement in mitzvot, right, are akin to the barriers constructed by the king. The Toldos Reb Yaakov Yosef of Polnoi elucidates this point, right, suggesting that these stray thoughts serve to distract and dishearten us. For the feeble-hearted, these distractions become emblematic of a divine rejection, right, leading them to withdraw from their spiritual endeavors and abandon their quest for connection. Yet, right, the spiritually astute individual recognizes that even these disturbances arise from a divine source, as there is no place devoid of Hashem's presence. Right. The challenge lies in pushing through these distractions, allowing the light of Hashem to pierce the shadows and illuminate the path forward. Right. Rorsher Zalman of Liadi, the Baal HaTanya, adds another layer of depth to this understanding. Right. He encourages us to view these moments of distraction not as setbacks, but as opportunities for joy and growth. The dedicated servant of the divine, right, much like a soldier preparing for battle, rejoices at the appearance of an enemy, for it is in the struggle that he fulfills his purpose. Right. In this light, the distractions we encounter on our spiritual journey become catalysts for growth and self-discovery, right, affirming our commitment to seek the divine even amidst confusion and disarray. The battle against the Yetzer Hara becomes a source of meaning and fulfillment, right, transforming our challenges into stepping stones toward deeper connection. This brings us to the poignant question posed by the verses in Devarim. Right. Is it not because God is not with me that all these terrible things have befallen us? Right. The Maggid of Mezerich offers a compelling answer. Right. He explains that the individuals who utter these words resemble the foolish son in the aforementioned parable. They recognize the absence of God, right, yet fail to actively seek His presence. Their resignation to despair reveals a fundamental truth. They lack a genuine desire for connection, right, demonstrating that being in the presence of the Father is not of paramount importance to them. Right. The result of this indifference is the very Hester Panim they lament. Right. As we stand at the threshold of the high holidays, particularly during the reflective days of Elul, the call to seek out the divine becomes paramount. Right. Elul serves as a time for spiritual reckoning, a period to re-establish our relationship with the King of Kings. Right. In declaring Hashem as our sovereign on Rosh Hashanah, we reaffirm our commitment to overcome the illusions that may obscure our perception of His nearness. Right. The barriers that we perceive are but illusions, designed to elicit our fervent pursuit of the divine. Right. Hashem, in His infinite wisdom, awaits our return, eager to reveal the depths of His love and presence. The spiritual journey, therefore, becomes a sacred game of hide and seek. The divine invites us to engage deeply with our faith, to navigate the complexities of our spiritual journey with tenacity and devotion. As we seek, we shall find. As we strive, we shall be rewarded with a closeness that transcends our previous encounters with the divine. Ultimately, it is our willingness to engage in the search amidst the shadows that illuminates the path back to the heart of our Creator, fostering a relationship characterized by love, trust, and unwavering faith. In conclusion, the game of hide and seek that unfolds between us and the divine is not merely a test of our perseverance. It is a profound opportunity for growth. Each moment of perceived distance is a call to action, an invitation to deepen our connection to the sacred. As we enter the days of reflection, let us embrace the challenge, recognize the illusions that cloud our vision, and commit ourselves to the journey of seeking. For in that pursuit lies the promise of a more profound and intimate relationship with the divine, a relationship that transforms our lives and enriches our souls. A guten Shabbos.